Madam Speaker, Dr. the Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Deputy Speaker, Ministers and members of the National Assembly, Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly of the Republic of Seychelles, distinguished guests, dear youth delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. It is my privilege as Clerk of the Mauritius National Assembly to extend to you all a warm welcome in this August Assembly for the opening ceremony of the 5th edition of the National Youth Parliament of the Mauritius National Assembly. The National Youth Parliament is an extremely unique opportunity given to the youth of our nation each year since its inception 8 years ago to sit in this August Assembly and step into the shoes of otherwise duly elected representatives of this supreme institution and role-play parliamentary positions and debate the affairs of the state. The NYP has proved to be a major and much-awaited annual targeted leadership youth development and empowerment governance program that provides a structured framework to transition young people from passionate citizens into capable civic leaders and public stewards. I must say that I personally take much pride for having been since the start of this initiative, together with many other members of the National Assembly Secretariat in the first place, and who continue 5 editions later to invest their time and hard work to make it happen. Distinguished guests, I wish to express my sincere appreciation to Madam Speaker for her continued commitment to this youth empowerment program, the honorable members for their encouragement and presence, the resource persons, dedicated parliamentary staff, and all those who are contributing to the organization and success of this 5th edition. I wish all the delegates to participate fully in the proceedings of this session of the NYP while respecting the decorum of the House and the rules of procedure governing same. We have equally in our midst today Honorable Azarel Ernesta, Speaker of the National Assembly of Seychelles, who will be addressing you. Honorable Madam Speaker of the National Assembly of Seychelles, you're kindly invited to the upper day to make your address.
Honorable Madam Speaker, Honorable Prime Minister, Ministers, members of the National Assembly, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, members of the Mauritius Youth Parliament, good morning. I am deeply honored and privileged to have the opportunity to address you this morning for the opening of the Youth Parliament. First of all, let me congratulate the Mauritius National Assembly for bringing together such a program and for making the time to provide the youth with such a distinguished platform. This program is testament to the Parliament's commitment to ensuring that youth participation in your parliamentary democracy is both meaningful and impactful. Each generation traces its own unique path in their country's development. The actions that are taken by one generation affects the lives of the next. And from the right place, the effect can be long-lasting and positive. The youth are not just the future, they are our constant reminder that it was that wild energy and constant optimism that drove us to do the right thing, that called us to public service, and that keeps us constantly seeking to improve everyone's lives. I had the wonderful opportunity to engage in dialogue with some of you, and I am convinced that this Youth Parliament will forge its place firmly in history. There is drive, there is energy, there is passion, and most certainly there is the will to bring a meaningful discourse. I congratulate you all on getting here, and I encourage you to make this experience the first in many successful future endeavors. Excuse me. I dare say that this youth parliament is a manifestation of cross-generational efforts where those who have done the work are providing a clear pathway for those who wish for the chance to continue in their footsteps. Once again, I congratulate you all, and I wish you every success. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Madam Speaker of the Republic of Seychelles. May I now invite Madam Honorable Shirin Omiroudis Zifra, Speaker of the National Assembly of Mauritius, to address you.
Thank you. Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Speaker from the National Assembly of Seychelles, dear Azarel, Honorable, I can't see everyone. I was going to say Honorable Leader of the Opposition, but Honorable Ministers, members, distinguished guests, dear parents, thank you also for being with us. Dear youngsters, I have already had the chance to speak to you. Today, I won't take too much time because tomorrow I will also be speaking to you. Today is a very important day for you, as you will be stepping into our shoes in order to capture the essence of parliamentary democracy. You will do so in the presence of your parents or next of kin, who have surely encouraged you to do everything which favors your overall development. Learning, dear young parliamentarians, is a lifelong process. I'm also learning. Here, you will have been trained to speak and defend your ideas with respect for your opponents of the day. I hope that the one who will be sitting here in my chair will be able to apply the kind of firm but soft way of presiding that I have adopted since my election. But I have no doubt that those who will put questions and those who will engage in debates will be as vigorous as our honorable members, whom I salute today for being with us. And therefore, I will say a few words, but not overspeak, because it is your day today. Honorable Speaker from Seychelles, I want to thank you for being present at this launching ceremony of the 5th edition of the National Youth Parliament. It's a coincidence. We did talk about it, but it's a coincidence. Your visit to the National Assembly has been very fruitful already to us. I know that there has been an exchange of young parliamentarians of the Indian Ocean in Seychelles last year. The youth of our countries have a lot to gain from such exposure and interaction. We therefore look forward to strengthening our ties at all levels with the Seychelles in the future. Before I end, Honorable Prime Minister, if I may, I would like to thank those who have done the training with you, because some of them are very important members of our community. They are very busy, but I think you may have gained something from what they taught you. First of all, Mr. Ravindradev Daibu from the Ministry of Youth and Sports, Dr. Madhvi Madhu from FARI, Mr. Satyajit Bulel, Chairperson of the National Human Rights Commission, Dr. Jamil Jitu from UNDP, and I salute Ms. Alka Bhatia, who's with us today, and Mr. Devan Sitaramadhu, who is at the Open University of Mauritius. I would also like to thank the 3 interviewers who came to support our own staff, Mr. Ismail Aref Bawamia, investigator at the Ombudsperson for Children's Office, Mr. Vedanan Burusa from the Ministry of Tertiary Education, Science and Research, and Dr. Priyamvada Panchu from the Ministry of Education and Human Resource. Thank you very much. Now, Honorable Prime Minister, it is for me to thank you for having found time today to be with us despite your very busy schedule. The floor is now yours.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker and the Madam Speaker of the National Assembly of Seychelles. I was going to say the leader of the opposition, but obviously he has already been replaced by a young leader of the opposition. Or you're the one. It's a lady as well. Honorable ministers, the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, the Chief Whip, the honorable members of the National Assembly, honorable members from Seychelles, the Madam Representative of the UNDP for both Mauritius and Seychelles, the members of the National Youth Assembly, and I should also welcome your parents who are here. I'm sorry, my voice, I've got a small cold. Let me first of all welcome all of you, not only as members of the National Youth Parliament, but more importantly, as the future leaders and custodians of our country. Before I go any further, I can't help but say it. I think it's the first time, Madam Speaker, that we have Madam Speaker from Mauritius, Madam Speaker from Seychelles, leader of the opposition, a lady. I think it's the first time. We should welcome them. This is what breaking the glass ceiling is all about. This is what equal opportunity is all about. It's a mindset that we have to change. You know, I remember when the father of the nation, I'm going off my speech when I'm speaker, because they want to learn something more instead of a classical speech. When SSR went to an official visit to UK, in a parliamentary democracy, a visiting prime minister usually also visits the leader of the opposition. And at the time, there was a new leader of the opposition, Margaret Thatcher. She had just become leader of the opposition. So SSR went to salute her, and then went to Downing Street to meet Harold Wilson. And you know, SSR told us, he said to Harold Wilson, "You have to be careful, Harold. This lady is very sharp. She might outmaneuver the Labour Party." And you know what Harold Wilson said? He said to SSR Prime Minister, "Don't you worry. The British people will never vote for a woman Prime Minister." And look what happened. And she was there for a long time. I think for quite a long span of time as Prime Minister, and very successful Prime Minister. This National Youth Parliament, I think it's the 5th edition from what I hear, it gives you the opportunity to know how Parliament works, about parliamentary procedures, how democracy works. You know, I'll tell you something else. When I first entered Parliament, it was in 1991. I became leader of the Labour Party in 1990. And then I entered Parliament in 1991 as leader of the opposition, 35 years ago. See how time flies? I must tell you something, in all frankness. I knew nothing about parliamentary procedures. No, absolutely nothing. But I was lucky in a way, because next to me, I was sitting there, but next to me was a guy Tanjuval. What is stalwart? Un vieux routier, comme on dit. He knew all the procedures. But, Madam Speaker, I know I shouldn't really say this, but only 3 of us got elected. But the opposition at the time, MMM, MSM, were very forceful. I'm sure you were there at the time. And they made some nasty remarks about Guy Tanjuval. After, I think, the second session, he said to me, that's the way Juval spoke, he said to me, Coco, I'm resigning. I said, don't resign, because I have no experience. It's great to have him next to me. And you know what he said to me? He said, in fact, I'm doing you a favor. Because when I resign, you have no choice. You'll have to learn the standing orders and Eskin me by heart. You will either swim or sink. And how right he was. I had to do all this. But there was nobody else to help you. And we must also thank many people don't, you know, what I find sad in a way. Many people don't know the history of Mauritius. I'm hoping if one day I'm not Prime Minister anymore, which I hope won't be in the next 10 years, not too soon, I will write a book. And you will see lots of things people don't know. Absolutely no knowledge. For example, when SSR became Prime Minister, unlike other African states, he chose democracy. Most of them became dictatorships, one-party state. They banned all the opposition. He chose differently. And I think we should be proud of this. Except, you know, for the first time, again, when I'm speaking, you'll excuse me. For the first time in 1982, we had the first 60-0. I was working at in a hospital in London, University College Hospital. And I bought the Times, London Times, an international section. You know what the headline was? Unique in the world, democracy opts for one-party state. In every country, people want democracy. Here we did the other way around. We chose a one-party state through elections. We should reflect, and we did it 3 times. I myself got twice, 60-0. So this is something that we should think about. That is not good for democracy, I must tell you. You need to have a robust opposition. That is why electoral reform that we are proposing. Many people don't understand why do we want electoral reform. It's important for many reasons, but 2 main reasons. It will prevent a 60-0. You will have a stronger opposition. And what happens? Everybody who wins an election, like I have, every prime minister before didn't want to change the system because it suits them. They have 60-0, no opposition. I think differently. I think we should have a strong opposition. A strong opposition. Today, I don't know why they're not present today, but I'm Speaker. Walk out. But, and also it will help us in nation building because every vote counts if you do electoral reform. If you have a dose of PR, every vote counts. Let me come to the 3 motions. I have to be brief because I have a cabinet meeting just after. I think it relates to artificial intelligence, to food security and sustainable development goal 16, that is peace, justice, and strong institutions. these three motions are in tune with the priorities set out in our government program, a bridge to the future. That's what it is. It's a bridge to the next generation. It's a passing of the torch. That's what we want to do. And if for a country to succeed, frankly, you need three things. You need many things, but three important things. A democracy, a real democracy, not organize elections and then commit electoral fraud. I vouch for this. I know it happened. And I will change this. I will make sure that nobody will be able to commit electoral fraud next time around. You need democracy. You need respect for the rule of law. You know, you need many times I hear people say we have an independent judiciary. It's not only independent that you need an impartial judiciary. Sometimes I hear people say, I've got a case in court, and they say, no, you know, for public opinion. What will people say? He became prime minister, he won his case. Wrong. Impartial means you have to melt out justice, whoever it is. Not because I'm prime minister, now I become as if a victim. That is why it is important to be independent and impartial. And you need strong institutions. The strength of our country is because we have had strong institutions. The first motion, I'll tell you something about artificial intelligence. In the last budget, a large part of my program, as you know, when I'm speaker, was on artificial intelligence. Why it's important, why we're putting a huge plot of land for artificial intelligence in Mauritius. And because we want to transform Mauritius into a high-tech, intelligent island. We are committed to transforming, to make it more citizen-friendly. The purpose of doing politics is to make a difference, to make the lives of people better, easier. If you think of the amount of red tape that we have in this country, everything to do with, I'm sure you're interested in concerts. You know, for people to be artists, to be able to do a concert, they have to look, I can't remember, I don't know if it's 30 or 13 permits, different places. And by the time they get it, the person they have invited said, no, thank you, he's gone. This is what we're doing. This is why I'm saying we should be proactive. And we must be able to harness the potential of artificial intelligence, because it will increase productivity, economic growth, and will help our national development. You know, again, I'm referring to my last budget speech. I mentioned I talked a lot about artificial intelligence. And not surprising, the opposition criticized this. They said, a lot of blah, blah about artificial intelligence. It's because they don't understand. They're not in tune. In my response, I quoted the former Prime Minister of France, Gabriel Attal, who is a candidate for the presidency. And you know what he said? And I quote him. He said, si on rate la révolution de l'intelligence artificielle, nos enfants auront le choix entre servir du café aux Américains ou du thé aux Chinois. They would be able to do nothing. Just be servers in cafes and restaurants. That is why it is important. We have no choice. We have to embrace new technology. And for this to happen, again, I tell people, you know, when election time comes in Mauritius, we have to change this. You'll see a lot of demagogy, lots. You will see people, I'm afraid to say this, I'm ashamed to say, people still vote on communal lines, not all, but a lot of, you will see socio-cultural organizations telling you who to vote for. This is why we have to think when we vote. We have to have leaders who have vision, who can think ahead, not just at the next election. Technology is not an end to itself, but it must serve people, as I said. And it will create new opportunities for you, for our youth. I always say, you must not only have vision, you must be ahead of the curve. This is what we did in the past. In Africa, we were the number one. Then Botswana caught up. Then Rwanda, even Seychelles. And now look at where we are. Because no vision, no long-term vision, no projection in the future. And we are growing up, you're growing up in a world where AI is increasingly shaping everything, even studies. There was this unfortunate flooding in Nepal. Immediately, with AI, they show you exactly what happened. Not the real film, it's AI. Mauritius, we want Mauritius to be a country where our young people are not simply consumers of technology, but creators, innovators, entrepreneurs. But of course, opportunity means responsibility. We must make sure, because there are some problems already with AI, we must make sure that it's used ethically and inclusively. For example, we need to protect privacy and the personal data of people. The second theme, I'll be as quick as I can, is food security. Do you know a small agricultural island, we import more than 90% of what we consume? It's unacceptable. How do you explain this? We import fish. We're an island in the middle of an ocean, but we import most of our fish. So something is wrong somewhere. And we become vulnerable. You see, with the war, US-Iran war, you see what the consequences. All the prices are going up. It's beyond our control. But we have to suffer the consequences because we're importing everything. That is why, and you've seen what a barrel of petroleum is costing. That is why I had done this before the war, again for the second time, to see whether I can have security of petroleum. We need to have security. In a war, you don't have security. And I made this great deal with India, and we must thank the government of India. Now we have a secure source of petroleum. Whatever happens, we are sure we'll get our petroleum. There are some countries, I was just in South Africa for the SADC. People in Mauritius don't realize. I think they don't travel or they don't read. In South Africa, unemployment rate is 33%. 4 hours a day, electricity is cut. 4 hours a day, every day. And yet it's a very rich country. This is why leadership is important. And let me just try to finish. The third theme is about SDG 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions, and fundamental rights. Since we took office, Madam Speaker from Seychelles is here. The former president of Seychelles made a comment about us. He said, Mauritius is going backwards. I won't use exact words he said. He said uncivilized, in fact. Because he saw what was happening in Parliament. We didn't have a speaker. We had a goalkeeper, a loudmouth goalkeeper. He was walking up to here, threatening members. Never seen. This is not Mauritius. It's a small clique who had captured the state. And they thought they could do everything they wanted to do. And look at the difference today. You can see the difference between Madam Speaker and the former goalkeeper. Strong institutions are the bedrock of any civilized society. And fundamental rights, I will end on this. You know, if you read the Constitution, you will see a whole chapter on fundamental rights, chapter 2. A whole chapter. Look at all the constitutions. I remember I had an eminent lawyer who came here when I was Prime Minister before, and he was surprised that a whole chapter is on fundamental rights. He tells me, but you had independence in 1968, but this is a European constitution. Lots of fundamental rights in the European Union is in our constitution. But we will go further because this was what, 58 years ago? Things are moved. There are more rights, fundamental rights that we have to include in that constitution, and we will do it. I think I will end, Madam Speaker, otherwise it will be too long, but I just want to say, Madam Leader of the Opposition and Madam Prime Minister of the Youth Parliament, after 2 days of deliberations here, you will learn what difference it is. It is easy to criticize, but to be in the arena, that is the difficulty. You must believe. My plea to you, you must have convictions and believe in them. Don't bend with the wind while popularity is swinging, you go that way. I see a lot of politicians do that. And I'm glad also, I just mentioned so many women here today. I'm the one who brought that, and I'm proud of it, the Equal Opportunity Act in Mauritius. Because equal opportunity, I tell people, it doesn't mean equality. We're not equal. God didn't create us equal. But what it does is it gives you an equal opportunity to be part of the race. You don't have to win the race, but you must be able to participate in the race. That is what equal opportunity is about. Let me end by saying something. I was watching, I wasn't a great fan of him, but on television I saw him the other day, former President Ford. He said, do not let criticism stop you from doing what you think is right for your country. If you think you're right, do not let criticism upset your mental attitude. You have to have a strong mental attitude to be Prime Minister, by the way. Resolve of purpose. La politique, c'est d'abord avoir des convictions. That is the first thing you need to have. Et avoir le courage et la volonté d'aller jusqu'au bout. And I'm glad in your motion it resonates with our national anthem. As one people, as one nation, in peace, justice, and liberty. I wish you all the very best of deliberations. Thank you. And I'm glad to mention.
Thank you so much, Prime Minister, for having shared your thoughts with us. Now, youngsters, we will be parting briefly because the Prime Minister will have to leave to go to Cabinet.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Let me... Tu peux y aller. On s'écrit. On s'écrit.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, youngsters. I will also leave you until tomorrow, until a few minutes, I think. Only a few minutes.
The guest will be leaving first, and then you'll follow. Clément?